Thank you very much. Please, can you take your seat? Whilst you are settling in your seat, we would have a very short video to play. Thank you.
Our vision hinges on the introduction and implementation of a 24-hour economy, which will also be anchored in agriculture and agribusiness. This innovative approach will unlock potentials that have long remained dormant, enabling us to harness the energy and creativity of all our people. And young people, including entrepreneurs, the 24-hour economy model will also bolster job creation for the young people, stimulate local industry, and attract foreign investments, and allow us to build resilient communities and a sustainable future. This vision extends to the business leaders and entrepreneurs. I invite you to support this new model and join me in shaping a business environment where creativity thrives and where the fruits of your investments contribute to the collective welfare of our nation. Your role in driving our economy forward cannot be overstated. Your innovation and dedication will be a backbone of our success story. And I pledge to you that we will look at the tax regime and rationalize them so that they are more transparent and fair. Members of the business community, I assure you, Ghana is open for business again. I thank you and welcome you to Ghana. And in our local balance, I say Akwaba to all of you.
Round of applause, please. Thank you very much. So I also want to say Akwaba to all of you. We are here today for our Presidential Investment Forum, organized by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Ghana, and Jetro. My name is Abu Osman. I'm Director, Economic Trade and Investment of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You are all welcome. It's a very short, I believe, but very impactful moment, and so we'll zoom straight to the order of our program today. I would respectfully call on the Honorable Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Madam Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, to give us her opening remarks.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, honorable ministers and senior government officials, distinguished industry leaders, heads of multilateral and development finance institutions, esteemed delegates, members of the Ghanaian and Japanese business communities, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm deeply honored to address you today at this Presidential Investment Forum, held on the margins of the 9th Tokyo International Conference on Africa Development, TICAD-9. I would like to first express my sincere appreciation to the organizers of TICAD-9 for convening this important platform that brings together leaders, innovators, and investors around the world to strengthen partnership between Africa and Japan. I also wish to acknowledge the outstanding efforts of two of my agencies, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center and the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, for hosting this forum to showcase Ghana's competitive advantages, unlock bankable investment opportunities, strengthen Ghana-Japan economic partnership, and position our nation as the strategic gateway to West Africa and the wider Africa continent. For decades, Ghana and Japan have worked side by side, developing critical infrastructure, transferring technology, and strengthening human capacity, from major road interchanges that ease congestion to energy projects that stabilize our power supply, Japan's footprint is evident in Ghana's development journey. What makes this moment particularly significant is that Japan is entering a new phase of engagement with Africa. Beyond its traditional role as a development partner, Japan is now actively pursuing trade, investment, and strategic partnership across the continent, signaling a shared commitment to growth, innovation, and prosperity for both Africa and Japan. Japanese firms, once regarded as cautious and risk-averse, are now seeking to establish a more substantial presence in Africa, particularly in sectors linked to resource security, infrastructure, and industrial partnership. For Ghana, this presents a unique opportunity. By combining Japan's advanced technology and capital with Ghana's resource base and policy commitment to value addition, we can move beyond extraction to build integrated value chains and sustainable industries. Government policies and investment opportunities abound, but same will be espoused later. Ghana is open, eager, prepared, and strategically positioned to be your most reliable partner in Africa. My message this morning is simple. Ghana, under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is ready, full of promise, and brimming with opportunities. I urge you to see Ghana not only as a market, but as a gateway to West Africa and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Together with Japan's innovation and Ghana's ambition, we can transform resources to industries, ideas into enterprises, and opportunities into prosperity. For Ghana, the priority is clear. We seek partners who will invest, innovate, and build industry with us. For Japan, the advantage is equally clear. Ghana offers stability, resources, and access to vast continental markets, especially the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, as well as returns on your investments. Let us therefore move forward with determination, turning today's dialogue into joint ventures, industrial clusters, and simply supply chains that carry the stamp of both Ghanaian resilience and Japanese excellence. I thank you for your presence, and I look forward to welcoming you on behalf of President Mahama as investors, partners, and friends. May God bless Ghana-Japanese relationship, and you are welcome to this forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Ghana is not just a gateway, but we are open and eager. So to our Japanese friends, please, we are open to receive you. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Before our next guest, we also want to appreciate GEPA, our partners, and then Ghana Free Zones Authority. They are also our partners. And we have with us some ministers and invited and dignitaries. So we have here the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, my minister. Of course, the Minister for Trade just gave her remarks, so you all know her. We have here also the Minister for Roads and Highways, Mr. Honorable Govens Agoja. We also have here Madam Joyce Mokhtar, the Special Aide and Senior Presidential Staffer. We also have with us our Ambassador to Tokyo. When the President is here, I won't say His Excellency. Our Ambassador, Madam Genevieve Apali. We also have, of course, Mr. Simon Maji, the CEO of Ghana Investment Promotion Center. Please, Mr. Maji, can we see you? And we also have Mr. Francis Kwatin Arthur, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. We have also senior staffers from the presidency, and then we have directors from the Foreign Ministry. But I also see here our ambassador to the Africa Union and Ethiopia, Ambassador Efriye, Robert Efriye. Thank you all for coming. And of course, our distinguished Japanese friends, you are all welcome. We cherish you. Please, our next speaker will be the Executive Vice President for Jetro. Madam, you have the floor.
ジョン・ドラマニ・マハマ大統領をはじめとするガーナ政府高官の皆様、経済界を代表する皆様を本日日本にお迎えして本フォーラムを開催できることを大変光栄に思います。まず2025年8月6日に発生いたしましたヘリコプターの墜落事故により亡くなられました国防相エドワード・オマネ・ボアマ閣下、環境省イブラヒム・ムルタラ・モハメド閣下を含む犠牲となられた8名の方々のご冥福を心よりお祈り申し上げ、謹んで哀悼の意を表します。このような困難な時期にあってもこの場を築いてくださいました、日本にいらしてくださいましたガーナ代表団の皆様に改めて敬意を表します。日本ではガーナと聞いてまず思い浮かぶのは長く親しまれているこのチョコレートにガーナという名前が冠されていることを誇らしく、そして嬉しく感じます。
As mentioned earlier, Ghana is one of the world's leading cacao producing countries, and in fact, most of the cocoa imported into Japan comes from Ghana. Ghana is also famous as the place where Japanese medical researcher Hideo Noguchi conducted his research on yellow fever. Unfortunately, Dr. Noguchi contracted yellow fever and passed away in Accra. In recognition of his achievements, the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research was established through the cooperation of the Ghanaian and Japanese governments. This institute has played an important role in the fight against Ebola hemorrhage fever and novel coronavirus and serves as a hub for infectious disease research in West Africa. As you can see, Ghana is one of the African countries that feel closest to. Today, in addition to from Japan and Ghana, many Japanese companies are attending today's forum. And those companies who are doing business in Ghana, and some other Japanese companies are trying to get into Ghana. It goes without saying that strengthening the partnership between Japanese and Ghanaian companies is a key for the developing economic relations between the two countries. Networking time has also been set aside for today. We look forward to active exchanges. Jetro has an office in Accra, will continue to contribute to the development of business between Japan and Ghana. In addition to the opening of TICAD-9 today, on September the 11th, there will be Ghana National Day at the Osaka Kansai Expo. We hope that Japanese and Ghanaian companies will seize these opportunities to understand each other and create new business opportunities. We hope that today's forum will serve as a starting point for the development of economic relations between the two countries across a wide range of areas. That's so much for my welcoming greeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam. Thank you so much. As part of the TICAD-9, there is a business and expo forum, and we have close to, I think, 100 Ghanaian businesses. I just want to introduce two business people who are part of this delegation. So we have Madam Patricia Diaby here, a business person, and then we also have Mr. Joseph Siao Ajepon. They are very distinguished business people in Ghana. Thank you so much for coming. And there are other Ghanaian business people from Ghana here. The next speaker would be the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa.
Your Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Honorable Ministers of State, senior government officials, Excellencies, ambassadors, business leaders, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to offer brief remarks at this Ghana-Japan Presidential Investment Forum. On the 7th of January 2025, when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was sworn in the clip you just saw, he stated firmly that Ghana is open for business once again. President Mahama's distinguished presence at today's Presidential Investment Forum is an affirmation of that pledge he made when he was inaugurated as the 14th President of the Republic of Ghana. President Mahama, since coming into office, has ushered in a new dawn of commitment, macroeconomic stability, and respect for investors. You would have observed that the economic situation has greatly improved. Our currency is now regarded as one of the best performing currencies in the world. Macroeconomic stability has been restored, and the sovereign rating agencies have all begun to upgrade Ghana. We are no longer in the junk status, and we are no longer a bankrupt country, thanks to the visionary leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I can also confirm this morning that when President Mahama appointed me, the charge he gave me, his marching orders, was that we should prioritize economic diplomacy. And so you will have observed that in all we have been doing at the Foreign Ministry, we have put the economic fortunes of our country at the forefront, because that is the mandate the President has given us. On the 1st of September, the President will be launching the first of its kind, a novel KPI, key performance indicators, for all ambassadors and diplomats from the Republic of Ghana. This has never happened in our history. And when you peruse that document, you will see that economic diplomacy is at the heart of it. The President wants our diplomacy to make an impact. Our diplomacy must lead to the improvement in the lives of the people. Diplomacy must promote investment, and diplomacy must create a safe haven for all of those who invest in our country. And that is what the Foreign Ministry has been charged to do. You also have observed that since President Mahama was sworn in on the 7th of January, he has respected all international agreements that he inherited. And so Japanese businesses are thriving. And you all know that no Japanese business, no contractual arrangement that was inherited has been adversely affected. And so we are delighted to see the progress that Japanese car manufacturers like Toyota Chusho, Honda, Suzuki, all these brands are doing very well, expanding, creating jobs. And the last time we had an engagement with Jetro, it was confirmed that you are all experiencing the new business climate, which is indeed positive to your investments. As the Honorable Trade Minister emphasized, when you invest in Ghana, you are not only investing in a stable, democratic country which offers you a market of some 33 million Ghanaians, but you are also investing in the gateway to Africa. Ghana hosts the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is the largest trading bloc in the world currently, where you are guaranteed a market of 1.3 billion Africans. And that is why we are conscious of that role that we play as an African country being looked up to by the rest of Africa to be that gateway that not only attracts investors but also protects your investments. As I wrap up, the pledge that we make to you as the Foreign Ministry of Ghana is that when you decide to invest in Ghana, you can count on our full and integrated support, right from the support that our Ambassador Akpalu here will give you at our mission in Tokyo, all the way toward GIPC, the Ministry of Trade, and others working in concert will afford you. We are determined to ensure that your investment is not only protected, but you also have good returns. And under President Mahama, you can be assured that your choice in Ghana, choosing Ghana, will be the best decision that you ever made, because you cannot go wrong when you invest in Ghana, and particularly investing at this time under the visionary and pragmatic leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I want to thank all of you for honoring our invitation, particularly our partners, the Ministry of Trade, GIPC, GEPA, our ECTIP, the Economic Trade and Investment Bureau of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, certainly our hardworking ambassadors, the mission here in Japan, supported by our multilateral diplomats from Addis. You have all made this possible, and we will continue to immortalize the memory of those who came before us, the likes of Noguchi, and all of those who have contributed greatly in shaping Ghana-Japan relations. We'll continue to walk that path, and we'll make sure that our bilateral relations grow stronger and stronger. So you are all warmly welcome to this Presidential Investment Forum, and we look forward to the outcomes. And we have no doubt that we are going to double our trade investment portfolios. We are going to have more businesses from Japan, and also we are going to have a lot more businesses from Ghana now investing in Japan. And let me commend the Japanese government that you are always being friendly to Ghana. You are not imposing tariffs. You are opening up your space for us. You are attracting more Ghanaian businesses, and you are also expanding your social contributions to our country. I can recount the Volivo Bridge project. I can talk about the Tamale electricity expansion project. I can also talk about the Kumasi Ring Road project and many other social interventions, including Japanese volunteers who continue to come to our country to support the transformation of our country. So there's a lot to celebrate about Ghana-Japan relations, and we have no doubt that today's Presidential Investment Forum is going to open more doors and usher us into a new dispensation of greater prospects between our two countries. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
So that is that our economic diplomacy is people-centered, and it's also whole-of-government approach. So when everyone, you have our support. So please, those already in Ghana, and people to come, one man is ready to convince you and to give you all the incentives and other reasons why you should be in Ghana. He's no other person than Mr. Simon Maji. He's vibrantly walking towards me. Please, can we welcome Mr. Maji?
Good morning. Oh, at least we offered coffee, so please. That one was paid for by the president, so good morning. Your Excellency, thank you for joining us this morning. Like we say in Ghana, I stand on all protocols, but the last time I was inquiring from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, what does that mean? For us, there's 6 foot people standing on the protocols. So today I'll just follow the protocols. Your Excellency, the President, our honorable ministers, our distinguished guests, our businesses and friends from the Japanese community, you are welcome to this presentation, which is about investing in Ghana. I'll just start off briefly by saying that Africa has a 3 trillion investment opportunity, which means it's very huge. Africa is still evolving and changing. It's still the place to do business. About 170 billion of that goes into infrastructure every year. So all over the continent, the opportunities for infrastructure. In terms of agribusiness on the continent, that's about 1 trillion to agribusiness and the value chain. And then there's over $100 billion of investment in energy. Africa is one of the places where 600 million of its inhabitants do not have access to energy. And by 2050, 1 out of every 4 persons on earth will be an African. So just in your mind's eye, just look at everybody. 2050 is not that far. Many of us will live to 2050. So by 2050, 1 out of every 4 persons will be an African. And by 2035, Africa's consumer market will be 2.5 trillion United States dollars. So if you're a Japanese business and you are looking at this data and you look at Africa, where do you start from? So today we are inviting you to start from a country which has a visionary leader in the person of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And Mr. President, bear me out. Today, your intellectual property is gone. Your picture will be used, your quotes will be used, and even in our adverts, we're still using all your speeches, so it's gone. So we can't pay you for that, but your reward is in heaven. So this is a quote from our president at his inauguration. For many of us, it just looks like a quote when he said it. But then on reflecting on this and looking at the actions of government, it is now clear to all of us that Ghana is indeed open for business. And His Excellency the President is leading the charge. So I'll urge you to look for this quote. These are some of the efforts that he's been making. Now, for those of you who don't know Ghana, so as we say, Ghana is Africa for beginners. Who has said that before? To our Japanese friends, yes, Ghana is Africa for beginners. If you want to start from anywhere on the continent, you have to start from Ghana. We speak English and other languages. Our capital is Accra. Who has been to Accra before? Yes, a few of you. We want to see the rest of you following the president to Accra. Okay? And then we spend the Ghanaian cedi. So our land area is 238,000 plus. I think the Japanese land area is 378,000 square kilometers. And then our population is 33 million. The World Bank puts it at 34.4. Our GDP from 2024 is 73.23 billion. And trust me, it's growing very fast. And last year, we grew at 5.7 million on account of mining and mining activities. So this is our current inflation. If you are to invest in Ghana, any investor will look at what is currently happening, what's government doing. So our inflation is standing at 12.1%. Fitch, we've been upgraded to B-. You can see our total export earnings. And then our consumer confidence index is also up. And most importantly for you, our business confidence index is rising sharply. Means more of your compatriots are coming to invest in Ghana. So why invest in Ghana? Why Ghana? I said it's Africa for beginners, but why should I come to Ghana? One, we always pride ourselves in this. We're a beacon of democratic stability. Ghana has been a stable country for as long as I've been born, and it's been some time now. And it's still stable because we've had visionary leaders, and we continue to have the likes of President Mahama resetting and coming up with a 24-hour economy. So that is working. We also have a burgeoning middle class, and you have duty-free access. The Minister for Trade and Industry and the Foreign Affairs Minister have spoken about having access to the West African market, which is 400 million people plus, over 670 billion, and then the AFCFTA market, 1.3 billion, 3.4 trillion GDP across the continent. The interesting thing is that we have a skilled and effective workforce. If you looked at the World Bank last week, Thursday, they said in the next 10 years, Ghana is going to come up with 5 million workers, sending us to about 11.6 million people in the workforce. That is between the age of 16 and 64. That's our most productive part. And so we have a vibrant and easily trainable workforce. Our literacy level is very high. And then look at that part, the promising carbon market. It's over 800 million. We are the first in West Africa to have a carbon market. Over 800 million transactions happening in our carbon market. And what that means is what they call the ITMO, Internationally Transferred Mitigation Outcomes, where we can plant and then you can pay us and take some of that credit to offset your, in quote, pollution to the rest of the world. We are also the first to have the green finance taxonomy, and that's ongoing, and the international financial reporting standards, all taking into account our carbon market. We are centrally located. I need not worry you. We've said we are the center of the earth. Kotoka is 6-8 hours away from many other destinations. We have a thermal port and seaport. And then we have abundant natural resources. And I want you to pay attention to this. We are the top largest gold producer in the world, and we have 4.7 million hectares of arable land, not agricultural land. In terms of agricultural land, we have over 13 million hectares. And so for agriculture, which is the next big thing in terms of agribusiness, we do have the land for that. We have a long coastal line, and we have other important natural resources like cocoa. We were averaging very high outputs. We went down a little bit, but the expectation is that we'll be back under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. We are also business friendly. There is protection against expropriation. We have bilateral investment treaties with many countries, of which investment is protected. There's double taxation relief. And then there's the African investment protection under the protocol, the AFCFTA protocol on investment. So let's look at Ghana and Japan. What's the economic relations like? This is Ghana's imports from Japan 2024. That's 120 million, an 18.8 increment from 2023. And that's Ghana's export to Japan, 215 million. And it's largely cocoa and cocoa derivatives and cocoa products, and sometimes scrap metals. This is a foreign investment figure that we have from 1994 to 2025. Japanese foreign investment in Ghana stands at 152.1 million. And that's why we are here today, because that is not enough. We are of the belief that in as much as Toyota and Honda and Datsun, how many of you remember Datsun? 260C and 120Y can be found anywhere in Africa. There's a lot that Japanese business can do in Africa, and we are ready and open for that. So we are here to really engage with you on that one. Japan has one flight from Cairo to Tokyo, and that's just about the flight you have from Africa, a continent of 1.4 billion people. So the opportunities to really expand in terms of connecting between Japan and Ghana. And these are some of the Japanese businesses operating in Ghana. So you'll find the likes of Modec, which is more or less Michu, and then you have the vehicles, and you have an interesting one called Degas. So we'll talk about Degas ongoing and the work they are doing in the north and providing financing, and in effect, for their returns, they are not taking money, they take products. So it's like sharecropping, which is a unique model of doing agriculture in Ghana. And these are some of government's key initiatives, ladies and gentlemen. The 24-hour economy. I mean, we can't go on an investment drive without talking about government's flagship program of 24-hour economy, which is one to transform our economy to make us self-sufficient. And the other aspect of it is an export-led program to make us an export hub. So we are going to be a manufacturing hub and an export hub within West Africa. And this is a broad vision of His Excellency, the President. These are the key pillars of production, transformation, supply chain efficiency, and human resource development. He has all these integrated sub-programs. But I'm more interested in the Grow 24, which is about agriculture and what we grow and what we produce. And so that will be the engine of focus and growth around the 24-hour economy. And we are inviting all of you, especially with the Ministry of Trade and Agribusiness, which is about commercial agriculture to feed industry. So we are inviting businesses to go into commercial agriculture to feed our industry. And in the course of the presentation, you are going to see what we mean by that, because we'll focus on few key products which there's the Make 24, which is about manufacturing. There's the Build 24. There's the Show 24, which is about our heritage and culture. And then the Connect, the Fun, the Aspire, about how we even imbibe and educate and change our mindset. And our Go 24, mobilize the participation of every Ghanaian. This is one of the most remarkable economic policies that any government can put into place. And so we are inviting all of you to join us in this 24-hour economic business. Now, one of the key pillars of the 24-hour economy is the Volta Economic Corridor. And this is very simple. What government of Ghana, under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is seeking to do under the 24-hour economy is to farm around 2 million hectares of land along the Volta Lake. And we are inviting investment in that sector or in that program. The other aspect has to do with agroecological sites, industrial parks, and most importantly, the water transport that will lead from the Volta Lake to Bupe in the northern region. We've all seen around the hotels here, we've seen the water and we see the transportation. This is the ambition of the government of Ghana. And how is government of Ghana intending to do this? So government of Ghana is going to create 3 special purpose vehicles, and that's where your invitation becomes important. Now, these 3 special purpose vehicles will invite investment from the private sector to invest in these vehicles. So whether you are interested in the water transport, where you have the participation of the Ghana Development Bank and also the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund and other private persons, or you are interested in the agroecological vehicles to invest in agroecological parks along the Volta Lake, or in the development of the tourism clusters along the lake, or you also have specific interests in the industrial parks along the lake. So this will be the 3 special purpose vehicles. And the project sites are about 20 developed projects, which will be shared with you after this presentation from the Secretariat. There are other aspects of our flagship 24-hour program under the leadership of His Excellency the President. So there's also the Legon Pharmaceutical Innovation Park, ostensibly to make us a pharmaceutical hub. And at the Ministry of Trade, the Minister of Trade has been talking about making Ghana a pharmaceutical hub. There's the pharmaceutical policy with incentives, which will help us to produce APIs. And we are inviting Japanese companies to come along because many digital and also in person, the selling of Ghana-made products. I can see Cocoa King. Where are my friends from Cocoa King? Are they here? Cocoa Foundation in Brahafo. Yes, so you can sell that online as well. And then there's the Kumasi Machinery and Technology Park, ostensibly to develop light equipment for agricultural purposes and for use in our country. The other important part of government's push, and we call it a big push, is the National Infrastructure Development Program. And here we are inviting you to come along on a PPP model. The Finance Ministry recently launched the Committee for PPP. It's 10 billion investment over a 5-year period, and it is ostensibly to open up the infrastructure of our country. Now, it is not just opening up the infrastructure, because the Minister for Roads and Highways is here. The people on Amasama are looking for him, but he's here with us. He's done that. It's not just to open up infrastructure, but it is infrastructure connected to where we produce food and where people can also trade. So government is not just seeking to build infrastructure just anywhere, but one which is connected to business, and government is more futuristic. We've seen the work done by Japanese companies at the Temamoto Way interchange, the Yamransa Road, and we invite you to participate in a big push for these projects. There are other initiatives of government, Digital Jobs Initiative. Japanese companies are good at technology. And so we invite you to join in the 3 billion investment in the ICT driven. There's also the 1 million coders program, which is still ongoing. And government intends, under the leadership of His Excellency the President, to set up a 50 million fintech fund, which is to grow up the financial technology industry in Ghana. I think one of them is DEGAS. DEGAS is Agricultural Financial Technology. There's also the Agric for Economic Transformation, and we can see it here. Feed Ghana. There's also the poultry component. One of the most important parts for the Agric for Economic Transformation is the farmer mechanization centers. His Excellency the President announced a few weeks back that 10 of them have commenced. We are actually inviting investment into the building of the farmer mechanization centers. And government of Ghana has allocated 1.5 billion Ghana cedis in the budget for financing of that project. It is essential for us because we want the farmer to be closer to not just mechanization, but improve farm inputs, have access to extension services, more so in this day and age of climate change, have access to climate adaptable instruments to ensure that agriculture continues. There's the Black Star experience, which is to redefine our culture and everything that we do, to promote our heritage, and to put us front, back, and center in everything which is known as Ghanaian. We invite you to participate in that. And then there's the Marine Drive. I ought not speak a lot about the Marine Drive because the person who built the Marine Drive, too many processes, the Minister for Trade and Industry, and she's here. So she has a lot more detail on that. But it's a coastal line development into one of the most urban and tourism sites that we want to transform our coastal sites in our country. And all these are up for investment in our country. But I also want to speak to you about specific opportunities, and that's very important. This is agriculture and agribusiness. This is the contribution of agriculture to GDP. It's 16.2 billion. And like I did say, as for the president's intellectual property, today is gone. So what you can see is the president of Ghana himself on his farm, inviting the rest of you to join in a farming business. The growth rate is 2.8% as of 2024 and employs over 35%. And like I said, we have 13.6 million hectares of agricultural land, which is different from arable land. For those of you who are farmers, arable land is those that cultivate, is it cereals? Normal crops, yes. Then there are specific investment opportunities in commercial palm oil plantations. I'll come to that. My next slide will focus just on palm oil because that's important. I've mentioned the farmer mechanization centers, the establishment of agro-processing facilities, the production of agricultural inputs, and then there's also greenhouse productivity and artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has become critical because the climate has changed. Things have changed in the way agriculture is carried out, and we must still feed ourselves. So that has become an important tool for us, especially smart agriculture in this day and age. So we invite you to join in that. Now, one more specific opportunity is the oil palm business. Ghana imports over 250,000 metric tons and produces only 50,000 metric tons of palm oil, which is the red gold. And there are huge opportunities, and some of the suitable areas are in the western region of the country, the central region, the eastern region, and other regions. The government of Ghana has allocated or indicated that it will make available 50,000 hectares of land for palm oil cultivation, and also to attract about $100 million in private investment into palm oil. In fact, government of Ghana is also making available 1.5 million seedlings for palm oil. So this is very important for us. There are also provisions of agri-logistics and infrastructure in the palm oil value chain. There's the bioenergy production from palm oil waste. There's the palm kernel processing and all the other derivatives that come with palm oil production in our country. We are inviting you on a journey to joining us to restoring our pride of place as one of the places that we can really grow palm oil. The next is manufacturing. It goes without saying that Japan is strong in its automobile, strong for the manufacturing sector. Its contribution to Ghana's GDP is 7.9 billion, and the growth rate is 3.9. Some of the subsectors are agro-processing, cocoa processing. There is also textiles, and then there's the automobile. So Ghana is ripe for advanced machinery, for industrialization, light manufacturing, the component manufacturing, and I'm glad that the Minister of Trade is here for automobile, because that's a huge market which there is a policy now in place with incentives. We want to be able to work with the likes of Morocco, Tangier, Morocco, to become component manufacturers for you, for your Toyotas, for your Hondas that are already operating in Ghana, and for the rest of the continent. In fact, if you read the TICAD message, it says there will be a signing ceremony of some financial loan to Kenya to help in the automotive sector. That's in East Africa. We are encouraging you to bring the same financial model, the West African one, to Ghana. So that is very important for us, and we look forward to actually moving that conversation forward. There's also the textiles and garment, and then the pharmaceutical manufacturing, which you will see in a bit, and some of the strategic anchor industries. So this is our energy mix and production. We have about 24,264 gigawatts per hour. That's energy as of 2023. And then that's our electricity generated. That's 9,335 gigawatts per hour. Now, with the exception of the 6 or so countries in Africa that has 100% electricity distribution, Ghana falls pretty high, about 89.5%. So the 6 are mainly the North African countries, and then there's Mauritius and Seychelles. But Ghana is ranked pretty high in terms of electricity distribution. And the opportunities in the mini-grid and off-grid solar manufacturing upgrading the grid infrastructure, and then there's also work in the biomass energy. But we must also look at the opportunity that we have in the energy sector. Just before coming here, the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition has set up a committee to review all our laws and financial incentives in the upstream sector. We're happy to announce to you that under the leadership of His Excellency the President, Ghana is also poised to regain its place as an investment destination in the upstream sector. Companies, some existing ones, have already announced plans to invest over $2 billion, and we want to see more of those investments also coming our way. There's also a $60 billion petroleum hub, which is in the downstream sector, ostensibly to set up a free zone in the petroleum hub for refineries, for jetties, and to ensure that we become self-sufficient. So all these are opportunities in the energy and renewable sector. Now, I will single this specific one out because the government of Ghana, under the leadership of its president, has announced a $3.4 billion renewable energy initiative, which is over a 5-year period, to take our high schools, our universities, and our hospitals off the national grid and transition them onto renewable energy. This is a 5-year project. And some of the specific investment opportunities will be the off-grid and grid-tied renewable systems, battery energy storage solutions, and electric vehicles, e-vehicles. For those of you who follow Ghana closely, you realize that a few months back, His Excellency himself was driving an electric vehicle. And it was sleek, is it not? We all love to have one. But this is the vision. And we want to encourage more of you, the investors, to really come along into the EV vehicle space. There's been work towards that, and it's been very significant. We are also the hub of critical minerals. We've seen that Japanese companies are now in Zambia looking for critical minerals. There are reserves of critical minerals in Ghana. Lithium, even though the global price may have gone down, we have reserve over 900 million. We do have 22.5 million of graphite also in reserve. Manganese, we are well known. We are about the third production, highest production in Africa. We have about 45 million tons. And bauxite, we have over 900 million in reserve. Iron ore, over 300 million. And all of this is geared towards an integrated aluminum industry development. Bauxite, aluminum refineries, smelting, downstream manufacturing, steel manufacturing, lithium processing for battery. We know the prices will go up. And then there's also opportunities for studies, exploration in that sector. The health sector, Japanese companies are very strong. Fuji Films, staging a comeback into the Ghanaian economy. This is the contribution of the health sector to our GDP, 1.3 billion, and the growth rate is 4.4. And there are opportunities in the construction of hospitals and clinics, diagnostic services, emergency response and ambulance, commercial health insurance. We do have a viable national health insurance, pharmaceutical manufacturing, and establishment of special cases treatment facilities around the country. So for those interested in the health sector, please, we are inviting you on a journey of prosperity with us. And this is our pharmaceutical sector. This is the current value of Ghana's pharmaceutical market. It's over $600 million. The projected value by 2030 is $900 million. And then the projected value of the ECOWAS pharmaceutical sector is $9 billion. Now, the interesting thing about investing in Ghana is that the standards that you get from our Food and Drugs Board and from Ghana's Standards Authority is accepted in other West African countries. So when we say we are Africa for beginners, it's not just a math or it's not just by word, but it's also by the things that we do. So if you produce in Ghana any drug, you can just export it to Liberia, to Mali, and to every other place in West Africa. So the 400 million people in West Africa are actually your market. So we are inviting you to come along. There is a whole PharmaVax product. Luckily for us, His Excellency the President is now one of the global champions for Africa's health sovereignty. which we want to reclaim our place in the world where we'll be able to manufacture our own vaccine. Vaccine manufacturing is a huge opportunity for investment, and we are encouraging you to come along with us. Research is also critical. Madam from Jetro did mention Noguchi. For 100 years, Noguchi came to research in yellow fever and passed on. So research is still essential, where we will build our own Africa Research Center. These days, as diseases like cancer and others emerge, the African DNA is not readily available. So the opportunities to invest in researching in our own DNA components to build up data for that. These are culture, arts, and tourism. We have over 6,702 tourism enterprises, and it contributes about 1.29 billion. These are the investment opportunities. We are looking for the establishment of hotels, recreational centers, conference facilities, because we just don't want to be the manufacturing hub. We are home to the AFCFTA, which makes Ghana the commercial hub for the continent. So we need investment in all of these infrastructure to accommodate the meetings and the people that would come to Accra. Now, why would you invest in Ghana? If you look at the UNTAC data, 60% of businesses from the advanced world would come to invest in Africa or the global south based on the incentives that you get. Ghana offers one of the generous incentives for investors, people willing to come to Ghana to do business. And so these are the incentives. For those farming in cocoa, and just so you know, the government under His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama has announced that they are going to make available 200,000 hectares of land for cocoa farming and cocoa plantation. It's not reserved for Ghanaians. We are inviting you to also come and farm cocoa, because this is one of the biggest exports to Japan. Cocoa farmers' income is never taxed. And when I discovered this, I was wondering what my retirement would be. So I'm encouraging you. It's 100% exempt. It's like zero rated. It's not taxed by the government of Ghana. Whatever I make out of cocoa farm is not taxed. Then cocoa byproducts, agro-processing, cash crops, and livestock, it's 1% for the first 5 years. If you go into any of these, it's 1%. Manufacturing, the average standard tax rate in Ghana is 25%. But for manufacturing in regional capitals, outside of Accra and Tema, is 18.75%. So it's reduced for you. Now, in manufacturing outside the regional capitals, it's 12.5% corporate income tax. This is how generous it is. In some other regions of Ghana, the 5 northern regions, the tax rate is 5% on everything else, because we want to spread investment across. There's also 8% on horticulture and processing of agricultural raw materials. If you do that for non-traditional export, and my colleague from GEPA is here, your tax rate is 8%. There are locational incentives, and that's what you have there. If you're operating in Accra and Tema, you have a 20%. After your 5-year concessionary rate period is over, we'll just charge you a little 20%, while everybody else is paying 25%. And then in other regions, it's 15%. Then outside those other regional capitals, it's 10%. For construction, low-cost housing is 1%. And then 22% instead of 25% for those that are into hotels. The banking services, you have 20% CIT when you give loans to farming and leasing companies. And then there's 1% for 10 years for unit trust. Those who invest in our unit trust on the SEC. Then investors in these funds also have 1% final withholding tax. For venture capital, it's 1% on your profit and 5% on whatever investment that you recoup. There are strategic investment initiatives. Under the New Exemptions Act, any investment above $50 million means you can have your own incentives negotiations with the government of Ghana. And luckily for us, we have the Minister of Trade and the President here. So anybody with 50 million, right after the meeting, you just wait outside the door and start the negotiations. Then there's the custom duty as well, which is some of the things that you import, they are zero rated. And so when it's zero rated, you don't pay anything. But there are also ones that if you need a lot more, you negotiate, and it's all subject to the Ghana, the Exemptions Act. I'm glad they mentioned that Zoom Lion is here. Incomes from waste processing is 1% for the first 7 years. I'm sure your business is more than 7 years, so you may be paying the right one now. But for the first 7 years, waste processing is 1%, and we can make this available to you. Then there's the Free Zones Enterprise, which is mainly export trade. We invite, for those investors that are looking into market efficiency, we invite you to come produce in our country and export. So it's a 10-year tax holiday, and you are also exempted from all the custom duties. After the 10 years, if you are going to export, you just be an exporter of a free zone, you do 15%, but there's still the 1%. Your dividends are still exempted. And then there are also the indirect tax exemption, the VAT reliefs on the zero-rated items, the ECOWAS trade liberalization, which makes it free for people to produce and export within the ECOWAS region, and that's how come we are inviting you to come to Ghana. And for our Japanese friends, this is very important, the automotive development policy, which gives you 0% for 3 years for the semi-knockdown vehicles, and then 0% for 10 years for the complete knockdown. So you see videos of Toyota and Honda. This is what they are running on. There's the capital allowance, which is free for you as well. And these are guarantees. Ghana is one of the few places, I'll be wrapping up soon. Ghana is one of the few places where your investment is guaranteed in the Constitution. Article 36(4) of our Constitution says, the government of Ghana shall encourage foreign direct investment. That is complete protection for it. There's protection against discrimination, expropriation. If government even has to take your property, government will pay fair and prompt price for that. So all of this, it's important for you to look at investing. We don't discriminate. We have insolvency law. We have dispute resolution mechanisms. We are signatories to the New York Convention, to the ACID. And so your investment in Ghana is well protected. We have a commercial court for dealing with disputes. And then there are also the non-financial incentives. At GIPC, what do we have? There's aftercare and investor grievance. We want to be able to resolve your issues before they degenerate into full-time dispute where you go to arbitration. And then we also have research and investment data. Research and data has turned out to be one of the most important services required by Japanese investors. There's also the Ghana International Trade Commission. Permit me 20 seconds. If you are manufacturing in Ghana, remember that in 2016, President Mahama passed this law to protect your industry. So anti-dumping, people would not just come and dump products to make your business irrelevant. There's a whole International Trade Commission. It's just Ghana, Botswana, and South Africa that has this protection for manufacturers in Ghana, in Africa. Then we ask you to unlock opportunities with us. This is who we are. We are a government agency responsible for the facilitation and promotion of investment. We provide you with all these services. We'll make these available with us. Any business with a foreign participation is required to register with us because we must keep register of same and produce it to the president and government for decision making. I think it's going. So you go to the office of register of companies in Ghana. You need a shareholder, 2 minimum directors, 1 secretary, 1 auditor, and an office location to register. You must satisfy the minimum capital requirement. Register with us. We also have a 24-hour premium service. I will not leave without saying that. We can do all your registrations in 24 hours. For you, we understand the agency with businesses. These are other regulators, but I have one special announcement for you before we go. 2026, you have to come to Ghana for the Ghana International Investment Summit. We are inviting businesses from all over the world to come to our country to see the opportunities for themselves. Like we said, thank you very much. And Ghana is free for business. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maji. I cannot say anything else than to say that the presentation will be made available to you so that you can digest and then you can ask questions. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at a critical stage. Since assuming office on the 7th of January, this is the first official visit of His Excellency the President to Japan, and also to attend TICAD-9. And like the Minister for Foreign Affairs said, the President says Ghana is open for business, and therefore wherever he is, he also wants to meet the business community to tell them the good news he has. We are talking of the President who is a hands-on person and who is poised to achieve results. And so, Mr. Maji, you were saying that we are not paying anything for always using the President's name. I want to tell you that the President is the Chief Marketing Officer of Ghana. And so, as the Chief Marketing Officer, he's giving us the express permission to always use his, whatever he says is the Bible for us. So, ladies and gentlemen, without taking much of your time, shall we please invite to His Excellency the podium, the President of the Republic of Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Oh, please be seated. Sorry. Thank you very much, and good morning to all of you. Let me thank Simon for that very comprehensive presentation of the opportunities that our country has to offer. And I wonder whether after Simon is necessary for me to even speak. You marketed our country, quite efficiently than anybody can be able to do. But let me just say, the question is, why would you want to invest in a country like Ghana? And not only to do with the economic opportunities, but that Ghana is a stable, democratic, business-friendly gateway to West Africa and the continent. And like you said, we have a growing consumer market with improving macroeconomic fundamentals, clear reforms to lower the cost of doing business, and abundant opportunities for technology transfer. And the thing is, what does Ghana have to offer? Strategic geographical location. Ghana is a country through which the meridian and the equator intersect. The two intersect in Ghana's territory, just a few kilometers off our shore. And it's also the host country for the African Continental Free Trade Area. You all have heard the landmark protocol that was signed by African countries. So far, almost 50 African countries have signed that allow us to export duty-free, tariff-free into each other's markets. Increasing numbers of products are being registered, and once you register your product and it meets all the standards, you can export duty-free and tariff-free into each other's markets. And as you were told, the sub-regional market, which is West Africa, is 400 million people. Ghana is 33 million people. And the continental market is 1.4 billion people. And so with the vehicle of the African Continental Free Trade Area, you potentially can export into 1.4 billion market. Simon said it, we are re-establishing macro stability and growth momentum of the economy. Inflation rose to a high of almost 23% in 2024 and is currently down to 13.7%. And we expect that by the end of the year to hit single digit. And it's also, our cedi has stabilized. For those of you who know the history of the Ghanaian cedi, it's been one of the most volatile currencies in Africa. And a few years back, we were said to be the worst performing currency. I'm happy to announce that this year, Ghana cedi has been the best performing currency in the world. And as Simon said, we've been upgraded from junk status to B- with a stable outlook. And I'm certain that in the next review, we're going to be upgraded again. We're open for business, and Simon and co are busy at work reviewing the Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act. Some barriers were put to foreign investment. You had to prove that you had brought in a certain amount of money to be classified as a foreign investor. In the reviewed Ghana Investment Promotion Center Act, we're removing those minimal capital investments. This will enable any investor, however little money you have, $100,000, $50,000, to be able to come in and set up a business in Ghana. Again, we have a track record for hosting Japanese companies. And as you saw from the list there by Madam Jetro, Executive Vice President, the number of Japanese companies that are operating in Ghana is significant, and we're expecting that that should expand. From Simon's presentation, he told you about $152 million has been invested over the last few decades. We believe that there is growth room for improvement and expanded investment from Japan. We're moving just not only from overseas development assistance, but we're moving to trade and investment. And the private sector will be that engine of growth. And so trade between our two countries grew by over 24% from 2020 to 2024. That is quite a significant jump. Priority sectors, Simon mentioned, Japan has a comparative advantage when it comes to automobile manufacturing. And like I said, using the opportunity to be able to export into not only our sub-region but into Africa, then Ghana becomes a good place for local assembly of automotive products. And already we have Japanese companies that are based in Ghana and assembling for the local market and also for exporting to the sub-region. Brands like Toyota, there, Honda is there, and several other ones. He mentioned the area of agribusiness and agro-processing. Of course, that is one of the main focus in terms of economic transformation. Ghana has a comparative advantage when it comes to agriculture and agribusiness, in terms of available arable lands, in terms of sunshine, in terms of water. We have the world's largest man-made lake. It's one of the things we were taught in school, the Volta Lake. And our first president had quite a good dream about what he wanted to do with that lake. And we're going to capture that in what I talk about when I talk about the Volta Economic Corridor. We have millions of hectares of land that border that huge lake. And the water can be used to bring about 2 million hectares of land under irrigation. But also we intend to establish industrial parks, so that we can process agri-products. We can invest in textile manufacture for export into the EU markets, into the American markets, and other places. Fortunately, we got slapped with only a 15% tariff by President Trump. And so Ghana is still competitive when it comes to exporting into the American markets. And so, like I said, the economic corridor would include manufacturing and industrial parks. And we already have 2 industrial parks. We have the Free Zones Enclave. We have the Tema Industrial Park. But there's a new one that has come up, which is the Dawa Industrial Park. And already the anchor tenants have built and are producing, and several other companies are setting up for producing in Ghana and exporting into the African and foreign markets. One of the major areas, growth areas for Ghana is in energy. And Ghana has a comparative advantage when it comes to energy production. Our first president was the first to establish the Akosombo Hydroelectric Dam, which is a 1,020 megawatt hydroelectric power plant. We have subsequently had other hydro plants, including the Pong hydroelectric power plant and then the Bui hydroelectric power plant. So there are 3 of them. But after a while, we realized that these hydro plants were not enough to supply the energy needs of Ghana. And so we went into thermal production. The good news is that once we went into thermal production, side by side, we discovered huge quantities of oil and gas. And we took a decision to utilize the gas for power production. And so we have a gas to power policy. And so our thermal plants are being run on gas. We're bringing new gas fields into operation. And because we're members of the West African Power Pool, our energy transmission systems are interconnected with our neighboring countries. And so any excess of power we're able to produce, we can evacuate and sell to our neighboring countries because we have a comparative advantage when it comes to power. Our cost is much lower than they can produce it themselves using fuel oils. Ghana has 3 important ports. One is the old Tema ports. There are 2 ports in Tema, if for most people don't know that. We have the old port that was built by President Kwame Nkrumah, which is a smaller one. And recently we built a much bigger port, which is the MPS port. So there are 2 ports in Tema. And then we also have the port in Takrady. Currently, the port in Tema, the MPS port, is one of the best performing ports in Africa. And it is able to accommodate the largest cargo ships that exist in this world. This year, about 3 of those cargo ships, the largest in the world, have berthed in Tema to lighten because we have a deep draft. And so they're able to come into Tema and lighten the cargo before they move to our sister ports in Nigeria, Apapa, Lomé, and Cote d'Ivoire. We also have an important area, which is digital economy and skills. And like Simon said, Ghana has a very young population, English speaking, and they're very smart and quick to upskill in any areas, robotics, AI, fintechs. The fintech sector is one of the fastest growing in Ghana than in any other African country. And so GIPC sold itself. It says it will fast track your approvals. And so any investor who wants to come, your first port of call is the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. And once you go, they would lead you and fill out all your company registration forms, get you your tax identification number and everything. And Simon said in 24 hours. And so I'm holding him to that promise. Any of you who comes and he goes beyond 24 hours, just report him to me. I talked already of the Volta Economic Corridor. And so we're looking for anchor businesses to take advantage of that. We also have the opportunities for mitigating your risk by doing PPPs. That is, government will partner with you to invest if you are interested. We currently do not provide sovereign guarantees in terms of borrowing, but our guarantees are that your business, will be protected and will not be expropriated. We also have blended finance for huge projects, and so that is available. We have local partnership, and as you were told, some of our big businessmen are here, and so setting up joint ventures with Ghanaian businessmen who know the terrain and would be something that is useful. And so I invite you to pilot with that. Select any of the areas. If it's automotive, if it's agro-processing, it is investment in green transition. You can join us and partner to be able to do that. You can use Ghana, as I said, as your West African hub and locate your regional office in Ghana or your production line in Ghana for export into the sub-region. You can also invest with our universities and vocational institutions to establish training centers that will be tied to whatever investments that you want to do. Ghana is a land of opportunity, and many nationals from all over the world are investing in Ghana. As I said, we wish to, because of the discipline, quality standards, and industrial wisdom that Japanese businessmen have, we wish to encourage Japanese businessmen to look towards Ghana. Africa is the next frontier for investment. Most parts of the world are saturated when it comes to investment. Africa is opening up, is growing, and is a place that Japan should be looking at. And so let us marry Japanese precision with Ghanaian potential and create a win-win situation for ourselves. Before I take my seat, my minister's advisors, CEO of GIPC, Ghana Export Promotion Agency, and our ambassadors will all be in this room after we finish this opening session, and they'll be happy to sit with you and discuss further what the opportunities are in Ghana. My copyright, Ghana is open for business, is here, and I don't charge for it anyway, so we're open for business 24 hours a day, and at this decisive moment in our history, we're working towards the economic transformation of Ghana. Our nation is embracing a bold vision, one that harnesses innovation, industrialization, and regional integration to unlock the full potential of our people and our resources. Our vision is anchored in our $10 billion big push, and the $10 billion big push is a program to improve the infrastructure of our country, especially in the road sector, in the industrial sector, agro-processing space, and all that. So we're investing $2 billion a year in infrastructure development. And already you've heard about the 24-hour economic policy, where we'll give incentives to businesses that are prepared to invest and to run more than the 8-hour working cycle. And then we're looking to accelerate industrial growth, ensure food security, enhance supply chain and value addition, and position Ghana as the manufacturing and export hub of Africa. And so on this note, I am happy to declare the Presidential Investment Forum on the sidelines of TICAD-9 duly open. I thank you. Long live Ghana and Japan partnership.
Shall we do it better? Please, shall you resume your seats? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Please, His Excellency says that you can use it for free. Ghana is open for business. And as one of the logos of GIPC, we have Ghana is open for business, indeed. Thank you very much.